Welcome back to Off the Grid. And we've been away, as you may have noticed. And one of the reasons is not a fallen tree, but one of the things every off-gridder probably fears the most, and that's a forest fire. Today, we're going to talk about what happened and what we learned from our experience. For us, it started out as a nice day. It was an early fall morning. Still warm, but we were in the shade. The house hadn't warmed up yet. But if you got out in the meadow, you could see how dry the grass was, how the trees were beginning to turn brown. Good fire weather. Aside from a few thunderstorms, we hadn't had any rain for 4 months. I just finished my second cup of coffee, and Karen was at the computer catching up on her email. And when we heard the sound of a helicopter, it wasn't unusual, but then we heard another one. So we got out on the deck, and looking up the river, there's 2 helicopters, and they had buckets, and behind them a huge plume of smoke. That's all we needed to see. We grabbed everything we could. We turned off the electricity, we turned off the propane, we loaded what we needed into the car, and we got the heck out of Dodge. Thinking all the time, wondering all the time whether we'd have a home to come back to. By the time we'd climbed out of the watershed and onto the next mountain range, we could look back and see the fire. And all we could do for the next 2 weeks was look at fire maps on watch duty and see the fire grow and grow until finally they began to get it under control.
Well, we're back, and our cabin and the property did not get touched by the fire. The firefighters just did an amazing job. They held it at the creek down from the cabin. It was kind of harrowing. We watched the fire watch every day to see what was happening in the progress, and not an experience I'd recommend, but we did learn a few things.
Lesson 1, leave your gates open if you have to evacuate. If you don't, the firefighters are going to open it, and they may do it a little differently if it's the only way that they can save your home. 2, have 2 escape routes. For us, the fire had blocked the road to the north and we couldn't get out. But we had another way, south. So you need options, and getting trapped by a fire is not one of them. 3, don't leave food for a hungry fire. Keep those gutters clean and the meadow mowed. I just finished cutting our meadow down with a string trimmer the day before the fire. 4, don't count on your nose. The wind can blow smoke away from you, even as the fire is backing down the hill towards you. If we hadn't heard the helicopter, that fire would have been upon us before we could react as quickly as we did. 5, let's raise a glass to the firefighters. These folks were on it. From hotshot crews, to air tankers, to helicopters, to the units assigned to protect homes. When we were finally able to get back in, this was what we saw at our place. They'd trenched around all of our homes, they'd laid fire hoses, they'd moved any burnable materials that were on our porches out into the field and protected them with sprinklers. And 2 days later, they came back and took it all away. Hats off, guys. Thank you. 6, remember when I mentioned we turned off all the gas and electricity? Well, that was a good move. But leaving food in the propane fridge for 4 weeks, not so much. Last lesson, don't assume just because you dodged one bullet from Mother Nature that she's not going to reload and take another shot at you. Because that's exactly what happened to us. We had another fire. In fact, they just finished mopping it up a few weeks ago. This time it came from the south, and it burned all the way up to where last year's fire stopped. Thanks to the firefighters, again, we survived. So be safe out there, and thanks for watching.